What it do? What does it do? It is Sunday, and I've spent much of this week watching a whole lot of streaming series just for you. So, who I got here today? Who is in this thing with me? Of course, it is my home girl, Davina Lark. She's going by her real name. She's not borrowing her husband's identity. She has come out of the shadows. So welcome, dear. I don't know what just happened with our phone call, but I was like, I still got stuff to do. You already know. I'm sure that's why you didn't call me right back. I don't know what happened when we was talking. So yeah, announce yourselves if you're here. And if you don't want to, that's fine. Be incognito. I'm okay with that. What it do, Reinhardt? How you doing today? Yeah, so today, new show, Stream Something Sunday. This is where we're going to talk all of our streaming shows, movies, just conversation, like sharing what we think is going to be the next big thing and talking about the next big thing. And of course, we jump all this off with with Star Trek. That's going to be my lead off. As if there's Star Trek playing, we're going to lead with Star Trek. I'm glad to know you're doing well, sir. Let me go ahead and put y'all comments so it'll be recorded for all posterity that you guys were here. Yeah. I'm gonna wait maybe another 2 minutes while um excuse me. Maybe while we are waiting, just maybe another 2 or 3 minutes, you guys can tell me because Reinhardt was telling me some ideas over on Twitter of things to keep your eye on series. So if you want to share in the chat the series that you all are into, and maybe we can get a list together and talk about, where we'll go from here. Because let me tell you, with the advent of these streaming services, ooh, you having a pizza cheat day. I wish I was having a pizza cheat day. Nothing I love more than me a nice hot slice, a Chicago deep dish. Thank you very much. The new U series, D says she is big on Joe and them. Is the name Joe? The killer. I forgot it. I know his name. I just know you. I haven't watched the third season yet, and it's like people want to spoil me. I'm like, don't do it, don't do it. I'm going to watch it. It's just so much to watch, and there are only so many hours in the day. I'm like, I can't keep doing this to myself. Reinhardt was watching Foundation. That's the one he's most into now, and that is playing on, I believe, Apple TV Plus. So he was giving me his thoughts on Foundation. Sounds like something I might like. Who knows? Well, shoot, we gonna jump this thing off today talking about Star Trek Prodigy. And Davina, I know you're not a Trekkie. I know this ain't your bag, but hang in there with us. With us discussing it, you might actually find that you want to get into it. You can't see me. You said, do you need to go to Facebook because you can see anyone? Oh, you know what? D is on Facebook. I get both of y'all comments now, which is better for me, but it looks like you're talking to yourself, to you. Yeah, D is the only one. I mean, you're the only one on YouTube. She's the only one on Facebook right now. If my numbers are not lying to me. And Davina says she watched Maid to, I'm not 100% sure what that one is. We'll talk about that one uh, at the back end. So we'll talk about that one at the back end. See if it's something that we might want to get into a little later. Dee says she is not really a Trekkie, but she's gonna listen. And this one is an animated show, and it is on Paramount Plus, which is the streaming service that all of you can find all of Trek on Paramount Plus. It's more of a kind of aimed at young people, maybe children, not little kids, maybe the tween ages, and basically people who are not completely indoctrinated into the Trek lore, all of the stuff that Trek has been in over the last, say, 50 years. It's kind of hard. It can be intimidating to people to just walk in off the streets, walk in off the streets and get caught up. But this this series is designed to be an introduction point. It is the jump off point to get people who have never been introduced to Trek before into it, and for those who may have fallen off and on the wayside. So we got Dalrell. He's a teenager on this like prison planet. They got these kids working in like prison mining camps. It's kind of wild, but he all he thinks about is getting the fuck away from this mining camp. And if I guess if I was it's pretty much slavery. I guess if I was involved in that, I would want to get away too. But that has been his main goal since being there, and he's continuously plotting his escape. Now he finds himself being interrogated by this big robot, Dreadnought, and Dreadnought is trying to find Fugitive Zero. So now we are introduced to the name Fugitive Zero early in the episode. Of course, Fugitive Zero comes back on the back end. We do get to meet who that is and why they want to catch up with Fugitive Zero. So we watched Dalrell. We watched him go through some hijinks. Oh, thank you for the like on Facebook. And if I got 2 people on Facebook, can I get 2 likes? But yeah, and I've got 4 people all together, maybe. But yeah, so Fugitive Zero, he is the person that everybody is looking for. We learn later that Fugitive Zero is a Medusan, and Medusans have this telepathic ability, but they also are said to be so, I won't call them ugly. They're so hard to look at that it would make a regular human or a regular being would look at a Medusan and go completely mad, completely batshit, just from looking at them. Hi, Stacy. Glad you can make it. You get an opportunity, hit that like button over there on YouTube for me. Let's put that YouTube on the map. Okay, and then we have Gwen. Now, Gwen is a Gwen is a Val Nakat. I hope I'm saying that right. Now she wants to explore the stars, but her father is the diviner, I guess. I don't know if that's her father or just the leader of their little group, but yeah, she wants to explore the stars, but she is being used as a translator for the diviner. So she interrogates Dalrell about Fugitive Zero because she is, that's her job. She can speak all these different languages. So they need her to speak in whatever language it is that Dalrell speaks so that they can find out what he knows about Fugitive Zero. Now, um, one of the things I forgot to mention, like even on Star Trek, Star Wars, they have what is called pretty much a universal translator. So no matter where you are the in the solar system, anywhere, you got this device that's like in your ear. And when you speak, the person that you're speaking to hears what you're saying in their language. And then when they speak to you, same deal. You hear what they're saying in your language. So because they don't really want these prisoners communicating with one another, they don't have any universal translators. So they're all there. They're pretty much all by themselves because they can't communicate with one another. Dalrell is of a species that is yet unknown. They don't even know what his species is. So, of course, he doesn't have anybody that he can talk to, except for Gwen when she comes to basically do what she's doing right now, which is interrogating him, trying to find uh, Fugitive Zero. Hijinks ensue. Hijinks ensue. A lot of them. Because Dal is really about that I'm getting away from here life. He does not want to be no part. No part whatsoever. He does not want to be stuck on this planet uh, doing this hard labor. So they set him up. They move him to another part of this whole mining colony and where he is supposed to give up Fugitive Zero. But what ends up happening is he and this rock creature, and I gotta find the rock creature's name. It's the Rock Talk. That's the name, Rock Talk. After Dal and Rock Talk start to work together, a mishap involving this laser gun, it made a bunch of rocks and stalagmites, whatever you want to call them, fall, and they found a Federation ship. So this is where this all ties back into Star Trek. There is a Federation ship called the USS Protostar, and they also found Fugitive Zero, who revealed that he was being used as a weapon and being forced to do bad things before he finally got away. So now we've got Rock Talk, we got Dalrell, and we've got Fugitive Zero all together at this ship, USS Protostar. The ship needs some work. Wouldn't you know it? They meet a guy named Murph, who just happens to be, no, Murph is not the engineer. Murph is the blob. That's something different. Jancom Pog is a Tellarite, and Jancom Pog is going to assist them by getting this ship up and running. So they are looking like they about to get out off of this planet finally. And then here come Gwen and Dreadnought, spoiling the show, spoiling the party. Here they come. Right. Hart said Dal doesn't even know what species he is. Exactly. Nobody knows what species he is. So I can guess that that's going to be an ongoing saga of season 1 at the absolute least. Of course, somehow Gwen and Dreadnought get wind of what's going on this in this hard labor area of the of this mining camp, and they come try to get them. They try to catch them, try to reapprehend them, but what ends up happening is they get the Protostar started, and Gwen remained on the ship. She, of course, they were holding her hostage, but this is what she wanted anyway. All her life, all she's thought about is getting into the stars and seeing what it was really like being out in the cosmos. So we got all of our little people that we have just met, the crew that we're going to be rooting for the entire season. They get away. They in this Federation ship. It's Federation ships have an awful lot of power. This is not the Millennium Falcon we're talking about, even though that ship was kind of strong too. It ain't got nothing to do on a Federation ship with all the bells and whistles. And and they get away. Yay! So they get away. We find out that this diviner, the leader of these people, he wants that ship. So he's not going to stop until he gets that ship. But for the end scene, especially, it was like a big deal for people who are diehard Trekkies, kind of like me, was a hologram. And they have these holograms on certain ships. They are there to answer questions, to be of assistance to the crew. They're programmed to be intuitive, and they can hold regular conversations. It's not clunky, and it has a good interface. I'm pretending like I know what that means. But it has a very intuitive interface. And this particular uh, hologram is one of actually the first. Oh, it's actually the first female captain that a show was built around, and that was Catherine Janeway. So, yay, gave us something for the old heads. You got a group of kids who are in no way associated with the Federation of Planets. So they are going to be learning all about Starfleet and the Federation through us. I mean, we're going to learn it all together. Like, we know, some of us know all about the Federation, but for those who don't, it's going to be explained probably on a child's level by Catherine Janeway to these kids. That's where we end. This episode was like 40 something minutes long. I didn't write down the exact amount of time, but the episode is like 40 minutes long. And yeah, this one was like double the length that it would normally be. It is not going to be 40 minutes per episode every week, but we got a nice, good look at what Star Trek Prodigy has to offer. And let me tell you, I thought it was good. If I was, if I had a little person here who wanted to get into the Star Trek universe, this is a good jumping off point. This is a place. The animation is beautiful. Let me see if I can find photos of what our animation looks like for Star Trek Why am I tongue tied today? Star Trek Prodigy. So yeah, I'm going to see if I can pull an image or two up for you, because it is really it's really quite beautiful. The animation is, and of course, it looks, if you, and D doesn't like, I know you don't like any of those Star anythings. You don't like the Star Wars or the Star Trek too much. So let's see. Is this the one I want to share? Yeah, that's the one I wanted to share. So as you can see, it's a just a gorgeous show, and I trying to find you guys some more pictures. Yeah, so for me, on a scale of 1 to 5, which I normally do for these Star Trek shows, I would give this episode a 4, simply because I don't know where it's going next. I don't know if we're going to get to a point where I'm starting to feel real, what do you call it? If I start to feel real lower decks about these episodes, I don't feel like that's what's going to happen. And I say feeling lower decks about it because Lower Decks had a few episodes that made things kind of uncomfortable for me. I'll leave it at that. But but yeah, the animation is beautiful. It'll put you in the minds of Clone Wars from Star Wars. Those are things to me that that makes it even better. Not because it's not standard animation; it's more lifelike. The characters are beautiful. We're starting to see some depth in these uh these characters. And oh, Reinhardt said he's in love with it right now. Tasha, he's gonna give us a 5. He got 5 on it. So yeah, like I said, I can give it I can see myself really digging this show. Even though it's not aimed for my demographic, it's not dumbed down. It's not a silly show. And I guess that is something that I can appreciate because I've got a very small penchant for silliness for sometimes. But this Dee says she can appreciate a beautiful production, and this is an absolutely gorgeous production. And like I said, I feel safe giving it a 4. I feel safe. I don't argue with anybody who gives it a 5 though, because it is just that beautiful. We're gonna see how they handle it when they have to uh, go to those 20 something minute episodes. That to me is going to see if they can condense that story down and tell it in that half-hour format. Right now they got me. I'm in. I'm all the way in. Uh, let's see. Reinhardt, you got any other thoughts about Star Trek Prodigy before we move to La Brea? Of course, after we get through the 3 shows that we did want to discuss that were on the agenda, we can always come back to Star Trek Prodigy and talk a little bit more in depth about it. Well, if you got something to say, sir, get it off your chest. Say it now. So yeah, I can't wait until next week, Thursday, for the second episode because this one really did. It was a great start for a new series. And again, if I had children here, this is something that I can see myself proudly sitting down and talking or watching with my kids. It's nothing. Let's see. There is nothing that is risque about this one. And even when I spoke with very briefly with Clarence over on their Discord, and Clarence was over the moon about it as well, and he is rocking his Starfleet stuff. So I'm like, he was digging it as well. um, Reinhardt says, I love the exchange between Rock and Dow when he says it's some kind of translator, and she said, yeah, I'm big, not dumb. This is 100% true. And Dee said, yes, you would have your baby co-hosting with you for sure. As long as you like, look, don't try to upstage me, baby. You're already cuter than me. uh, and Reinhardt says, I'm calling her Rock. You calling her Rock because you're not sure how to spell the actual name. The spelling that I saw was R-O-K. R-O-K, Rock, T-A-H-K, Talk. Rock Talk. So yeah, and I keep that was just well done, beautiful. I can't wait to see the adventures they get in. I can't wait to see Janeway, even though she's a hologram. Can't wait to see her be a babysitter because that don't seem like her bag. Let's see. Let me see. Reinhardt says, just overall to me, Tasha, it just felt good. It made me happy as a Star Trek fan. This is something I would love for my granddaughter to watch, and I'm going to mention it to my daughter. We'll see where it goes from now. But as far as right now, I was incredibly impressed by the first two episodes. That, and you can't say it no more than that. That was it. Um, I kind of wish that I kind of wish that all of the episodes were going to be that feature length. I know that that is very difficult when you're talking about animating a series that's going to be on for a number of weeks. That gets into a lot of time of preparation when they are uh, when they are animating those long form animated shows. But I really and truly would love to have seen this be one of those things that turns out to be more than one more than one uh or more than one, more than 28 minutes. Okay. All right, welcome back, Stacy. All right. Well, we got next is La Brea. And La Brea is a show that is on NBC, Hulu, or Peacock, depending on how you are watching your streaming content or your content on from TV. La Brea, man, La Brea just got me. I told y'all about it yesterday, and it is like every freaking TV show's problem. Every one of the problems that you have in these different TV shows, all stuffed in one TV show. La Brea. Uh, so we got a sinkhole that opens up in LA, chaos and pandemoniums, all of that ensues. And this family, that is a family of four, gets separated. Now, the mother and the son, teenage son, older teen, uh, fell through the fell in the sinkhole. There's a daughter and the father that are still, on the surface, and uh, they are definitely not giving up hope on finding their loved ones in this sinkhole because the father, prior to this sinkhole even opening up, his name is Gavin. Gavin was having visions of this very thing. So, in fact, Gavin, before this sinkhole even happened, he was having visions of his wife and his son falling in that sinkhole. Now, when you guys think of, and especially if you haven't been watching the show, you fall in a sinkhole, you pretty much think it's over, right? It's over. Ain't too many people crawling up out of the sinkhole. But not for these people. These people find themselves in 10,000 BC, 10,000 years before Christ. You think about it, this was well after the dinosaurs, but long before human civilizations were out, were doing, making buildings and having civilizations, having, what do you call it, towns, and none of that was going on. So we haven't seen too much. I'm only going with first episode right now. We hadn't seen too much going on down there, except for these wild animals. Of course, they are from the past, so they are freaking huge. They have not evolved down into uh, smaller beasts. They had to be bigger to kind of survive back then. So we have this group of people get attacked by this gigantic wolf. This gigantic wolf. And then they have to, because the boy, my God, what is the young man's name? Oh, Jesus. I forgot the son's name. But anyhow, he he got bit by this gigantic wolf. So he's got infection in this cut. So now this this group of people have to pull themselves together to save this young man's life. And I'm like, these are some of the luckiest people in the world because they got a little bit of everybody down there with them. They got, this mother and her son. You got police officers, a few of them down there. You got a doctor, you got a psychiatrist, you got a drug dealer. So there's heroin down there, just in case, you were interested. um, they got just a representation of each of the little things that you need. A person who knows all about anthropology so they can explain what it is that they're seeing going on. Oh, these tar pits is from 10,000 years ago, that kind of thing. So they got everything they need down there. They even got some chairs and shit. I don't know how that happens. Furniture truck must have turned around or turned upside down under there because they even got furniture trucks under there. I mean, furniture down there, a few pieces of furniture. Okay, so as we're going on in this saga where these people are trying to learn to get along with one another and also stay alive from the threats to the environmental threats that they have and the animals and all this wildlife stuff that they had no clue that they had to be worried about, they got to worry about. Okay. Once we do all of that, I saw that. Reinhardt says, once I was thinking about watching it, it looked intriguing. Might watch the first episode tonight. Let me tell you, it can get a little silly. It can get a little silly. And a little like y'all just too lucky. But it's every time I feel like that, something else happens to draw me back in. Because, okay, for instance, they have this prototype aircraft that they were like, we're going to send this prototype aircraft down into the sinkhole because we know that there are people alive down there because Gavin can see them. But besides that, they just want to know what's on the other side of the sinkhole as far as the government and scientists and that kind of thing. They send the prototype aircraft down there, and what happens? I'm going to give y'all two guesses, but I bet you only need one. Yeah, they go down there and the plane crashes. Now, there's only one person on board this plane, and he is a friend of Gavin, who is also a pilot. But also, he's the man. So he's Gavin's friend, but he's also the man that Gavin's wife was having an affair with. Of course, it blew up. Reinhard, you're so smart. It didn't blow up. It did crash land. So there is damage to the plane, which means that they can't just fly. He can't just fix it because you're in 10,000 BC. You can't just fix it and fly back up. So now we've introduced another player to this problem. And this player just happens to be the person who Gavin's wife was, having an affair with. Okay. Even when we move past that, there are other things that are just too hard to be true. For instance, Gavin's wife lost her wedding ring on her way when she was falling through the sinkhole. Her daughter was trying to grab her and hold on to her, and she slipped out of her hand. Her ring came off. She was gone. Her husband, in our present day, found the ring. Now, he found it. Of course, it looks antique at this point because he's finding a ring that's been there for 10,000 years. Are you following? She lost the ring. He found the ring, but it was 10,000 years later when he found the ring. It's just so many different angles to how this thing works out. And then the people that are down in 10,000 BC, you're wondering to yourselves, okay, we know that these people have to learn to get along. You got this drug dealer down there. Fortunately, he was down there and that he had like keys. He had keys of heroin, keys. So it was a good thing he was there because they were going to need this heroin to act as a medicine for people when they have to do these emergency surgeries and that kind of thing. An ambulance fell through. So, they've got some medications on this ambulance. This is like they were the luckiest unlucky people in the world. And I am intrigued by what more could possibly happen to these people. Then a big giant sloth comes and eats all of their rations, all of their food. So good thing that this helicopter, this prototype aircraft crashes down there because he's got some MREs down there. If you've ever had a MRE, they're called meals ready to eat. It's what we used to eat in the field when I was in the military, and they're nasty the first probably 3 times you eat them. And then it gets to the point where you start to know how to hook them up. So I used to throw my MRE before we go out doing our daily training. I throw my MRE on top of my tent and let the sun cook it. Then I come in and I got a hot meal. So, it's just learning how to get used to your surroundings. But I'm seeing these people, they're getting lucky. And it is a time rift, Reinhardt. It is a time rift. But once they felt the time rift, the tear is in the sky. There's only one way you're going to get through it. Once you're down in 10,000 BC, the only way you're going to get through that time rift is by flying up there and, going through. There's no other way. What they find out is that this wasn't the first time a rift like this had opened. Another team of people in a different prototype aircraft had went down to examine what this anomaly was, and they got stuck down there. Those people down there have built a whole freaking community. They've built this whole freaking community, and it's like a primitive type of community, but these people have the social skills of people from the 21st century because they fell through just a few years ago. Let me tell you, if you're not watching it, I've just basically ran over 4 episodes of things that happened in this series. If you're not watching it and you want to watch it, it's an easy binge because you're going to want to know. If you're like me, you're going to keep watching until you find out exactly how something like this can happen. How can it happen? The lady, I'm just going to tell you to watch it. I'm not even going to bore you anymore with me going through blow by blow what happened. I'm going to say watch it, and hopefully you will join me. I have to thank Jonathan from Discussing Trek for getting me on this because I had no intention. Of watching this show. And then he talked about how he and his wife fell through this rabbit hole. And now here I am right along with them, looking around for them because I'm in the rabbit hole too. So Reinhardt said, okay, I can see where this is going. They're going to have to figure out how to fix the plane to get out, right? It's the only way they're going to be able to get out. But they are planning to send another aircraft down there, but this one is not government sanctioned. It's going to be private citizens basically saying we going down there, even though it's being heavily guarded by the military and the government, because when they sent the plane down there, that Gavin's friend, when he went down there, it caused an earthquake on the surface. So he got pulled into the 10,000 BC anomaly, but on the surface, there was an earthquake and it was a category 5. And they're like, if we send somebody else down there, it could be a bigger earthquake. So they're going to have to just die in 10,000 BC. But what I am thinking or wondering is if they are down there building civilizations and it turns out that the reason why we have the things that we have in our day, are they going to try to say that those people were the people who created these things? And it's just that kind of loop. It's going to keep happening because it has to happen. If it doesn't happen, then none of the rest of the world that we know of happens. Hopefully that makes sense. Reinhardt said, Tasha, you're doing a way better job of selling me on watching this series than their previews did. Well, thank you. Because I want somebody in this with me now. I had no intention of watching this. It was Jonathan Shorts from Discussing Trek. So thank you, Jonathan. Now, any questions, comments, concerns, anything more about Brea? Because I don't have a lot, it's not a lot of us in here talking about it, but I do want it to be. I do want you guys to get into it because I want it to be more conversational on Sundays than just me sitting here talking at a camera. So, if you guys got anything else, let me know so we can put that up on the screen and discuss it. If not, we're going to get to our final show that was watched. I binged the whole thing in like just a matter of hours. It's an easy watch if you have not already watched Colin in Black and White. Today we are going to discuss the first 3 episodes of Colin in Black and White, because I want to give people an opportunity, if they listen to us talk about the first 3 episodes and then find that it sounds like something that they want to see, I want them to have an opportunity to watch it. Colin in Black and White is on Netflix, and it came out, I believe, this past Friday. Was it Friday? If it wasn't Friday, it was Thursday, but I think it was Friday. And yeah, to me, it was pretty darn good. There are things, of course, that I wasn't the hugest fan of some aspects of the show, and I'm not afraid to tell you guys. One of the things that I found, it was Friday, D. So Friday is when it came out. One of the things that I found a little disorienting about the way that this series was put together was that we had narration by Colin Kaepernick throughout the episodes, and I just feel like at some points the narration became intrusive. So it was like I wanted to just watch the kid going through what he was going through. We can keep this going. Don't pull me out of it by going into a separate diatribe. Now, there were a lot of times where that worked. There were some times that I felt like it was a bit clunky, but overall, I was very impressed with the way that it was directed. It was beautifully shot. Nothing out of the ordinary or unorthodox was done as far as camera work was done, but it was still a beautifully shot series. Very relatable for a lot of us, but unrelatable for a lot of other people, because it was relatable for a lot of us, but unrelatable for a lot of other people because they have not walked 1 second in our shoes. I'm gonna read this comment from Reinhardt. Sorry, this comment coming across late, Tasha. I had to look it up. This sounds a lot like the show Terra Nova, where they had to travel back in time because the present day was so polluted. You had to walk around with the breather on, and they traveled back in time, but they couldn't travel back to the same timeline. So they had to travel to an alternate timeline to avoid messing up history. And I would say it's similar to, we're talking La Brea now. It was similar to that, except they the present day that they departed was more or less our present day. It was more or less right around the 2019, 2018 era. So, even though we are messing up the environment and effing things up, we're not to that point yet. But I've got a feeling that that sinkhole leads to everything that we're going through on the surface now, and what's up and on the surface now led to that sinkhole. It's just like going to be a crazy circle jerk. Okay, so going back to Colin in Black and White. Um, yeah, there's going to be some people who don't understand where this whole thing is coming from, because they've never been Black. And then there's parts of it that we're not going to understand because we didn't grow up in white households. So had Colin Kaepernick had a conundrum. His conundrum was, outwardly you can see Black, but he's grown up in a white bubble. And now he's starting to understand what other people see when they look at him. They see a Black kid, and he now has to learn by himself how to navigate a world that is sometimes very hostile to Black men. See what Divina said here. Too much information to cram into 6 episodes. Colin narrating his story had me emotionally invested due to actually being able to look into his eyes literally. Yes. And him sitting there, like, some of it, because some of it wasn't him narrating his story. And that's the part that got clunky to me. That's the part that kind of got a little heavy-handed. He was not just narrating his story, he was telling stories of other Black people throughout history. He even led off, and this was powerful to me. What he led off with, episode 1, was what it's like going through the combine. If you don't know what the NFL combine is, that's where they get a look at the new recruits. And by they, I mean the general managers, the coaches, the recruiters, people who have an opportunity to say, yes, we want this guy on our team, or no, we're going to pass on him. But it was very powerful because he likened it to being on the slave, like a slave auction. And it really does look similar to that. It's not him overstepping or being heavy-handed there. That was very, very powerful. And I liked that to lead off. I would have liked it better if he had additional commentary that was held until the end of the episode, after we watched young Colin go through what he went through in the whatever particular episode it was. The first episode was the thug hair episode. And thug hair is, he got French braids. That's thug hair. Of course, it's thug hair to people who don't understand that it's just another expression. And I guess if you got Black people who have bought into the stereotypes that have been put on us, they would think it was thug hair too. You know what? Okay, Reinhardt, I see. You said you're going to watch this. I'm still really pissed off at how the NFL did him. This young man takes a knee for what he saw as racial injustice. A lot of people, because you haven't watched it yet, Reinhardt, I'm not going to spoil a whole bunch of this, because I came in here ready, and I guess I need to make make a banner that says I'm going to be spoiling the shit out of some shit. But because you haven't watched it yet and you plan to watch it, I'm not going to spoil this entire the first 3 episodes, because we're going to talk the first 3 episodes today. But we can keep it real surface today. And I know you was ready too, D. Yes. We can keep it real surface today and just recap the entire series next week. Just get each other's thoughts. What we thought were strong moments, if there were moments that you thought were weak, what you thought was weak. But I don't think it's spoiling too much to talk about that opening series, that opening part where he was talking about the slave trade. I thought that was an analogy that, of course, we've all used it before, but to see it being played out side by side, uh, this depiction of a slave auction and the NFL Combine, and the similarities were ridiculous. And he also said that there were you leave there pretty much um, with none of your dignity intact. I want to say they probably do everything they possibly can to, of course, a lot of it is to check to see if you're going to be a good little slave and be able to run and jump and do all the things that you have to do as a professional athlete. But also, I can't help but think that sometimes they want to emasculate men with some of the stuff that they take them through when they're going through these types of combines. Some of it, I know a lot of things is necessary, and I can't imagine some of the stuff that's necessary, but I honestly think that sometimes it's purely a power move. Purely a power move. D says mental toughness is what they call it. That's probably part of it. But I honestly think they just want to make sure that these young men realize who holds the cards, who is really in power here. Now, a high school combine, I don't think will be as invasive as the professional athletes combine. It's not going to go through what they go through. They're going to watch. It's more watch and see with the high schoolers. When you start talking about being paid millions of dollars to play a sport, I understand having to check every aspect of this person to make sure that this is a good investment. But I think it's a whole heck of a lot worse when we talk about these grown men. Yeah. I got some of the best tea. That tea tastes so good. Um, but yeah, and then Thug Hair, because we all know, I don't have to spoil much by saying anything that white folks don't understand. They throw a label on it, and that label is hardly ever complimentary. It is hardly ever complimentary. It says, yes, I agree. D said, yes, I agree. It wasn't on the same level of disgrace, but for a child. Stacy said, I can get on Peacock. The show that's on Peacock is Brea. So you'll be able to watch Brea on Peacock. Netflix is where we're talking about Colin in Black and White. This show that we're talking about now is Colin in Black and White. And the episodes 1 through 3 are on Netflix. Well, the entire series is on Netflix now. It is a limited series, so we're not getting unless they pick it up and make it a recurring series, we're not getting a season two. We're not getting much more to the story. It's kind of going to be left the way that it ended on Netflix. Reinhardt says, Tasha, this is how little they understand. A lot of the African American guys, one guy was doing an interview, both, and what does your father do for a living? He thought this was a silly question. Wait a minute. I'm lost. I'm lost. Said, what does your father do for a living? And he thought this was a silly question. I'm trying to. Somebody fill me in. But yeah, uh, it was a very. It was eye opening, uh, especially if this wasn't if his account wasn't dramatized for effect, because there are stories that are 100% true, and then there are stories that are based on true story, and then there are stories that are based on true events. Now when they say based on true events, they can get real wild and loose with the details. When we say based on a true story, they try to get a lot of the details, but none of it's never going to be 100% right, because nobody has that kind of memory, that kind of recall, where every little part of your life you're going to remember. And then there was what was the third one? Based on a true story, based on true events, and like biography or biopic. This was I'm trying to figure out which one of these this is. Is this based on true events? How much of this was dramatized for effect? Because I believe some of it was dramatized for effect. Like I believe that these things happened to him, but they didn't happen to him one after the next after the next. It wasn't like every time this child walked outside that he was being targeted, because there were other black kids going to the school. Now, that's not to say that a lot of the black kids had not been I guess I don't want to call it radicalized. But then a part of it is being radicalized, where you go and you see everything about you, all of the things that are inherently black. You get to feeling like um, that black stuff that you see is the enemy. You're radicalized. If, for instance, and this is not a huge spoiler, there was a black girl in there, and they were referring to this young lady as being blue black. We all know somebody who was so dark that they did have that hue to them. But this girl wasn't that. She was just the darkest, probably maybe among the darkest people at the school. Blue black is a different kind of black. And blue black, honestly, if you've seen my child, you would know I kind of like a dark skinned guy. I think that's handsome, and a whole lot of darker men. But they were taught, they were radicalized, they were taught that this was not what's attractive. What's attractive is this little skinnier white girl. It's not this dark skinned black girl. And I can see that being a possibility. Now, if you got a different idea, I don't mind you spitting it right now, because I'm rambling. There's a lot of my thoughts that are all over the place about it, because I know that he went through most, if not all, of what he's saying. I'm just wondering uh, how much of it was played up for effect. Because even though his parents were white, and they came across as very clueless to what racism not overt racism, microaggressions. And D said yes, and it was coming from his friends, and his mom felt the same way. Um, Reinhardt said, you said another part to explain what I was talking about. I never saw it come up in the chat. Let me see. I got. Okay, I see part of it. I see part of it. Wow, a lot of this got. Okay, let me go back and pick up some of y'all comments that I missed. D said, very powerful, but I've said the same about the trading of players in professional sports. The thug here. And then Reinhardt said, you got guys in the league who actually did bad things. That's okay. They could come back and win Super Bowls, but you stood up for something important, so you can't play anymore. They canceled him. I agree. That to me was there, and I don't like throwing to protect one black dude. I don't want to throw another black dude under the bus, but I'm gonna throw one black dude and one white dude. I'm throwing one of each under the bus. Okay, you have Ray Lewis, who, despite what a jury said, may have been a murderer. Ray Lewis might have killed somebody. Continued to play for the Ravens. He played some Super Bowls. He had off-field job with the NFL. So that's one. And then the other thing is like Ben Roethlisberger. There have been so many credible complaints earlier in his career, of course, but there were credible complaints that he had sexually harassed and assaulted a couple of women. And he continued to enjoy, he continues with an S to enjoy the privilege of playing in the NFL. You got one person who said, I'm going to take a knee for a national anthem. Mind you, there are people who don't even celebrate, are not, I ain't gonna say celebrate. They're not patriotic at all. It's part of their religion. It's part of that methodology, their thought processes. Nothing about them says patriot. They still here. And let's see. Stacy said, like stupid beauty pageants. And that was another thing. I'm glad you said it. I don't even know if you've seen this show, Stacy, but what you said, because in talking about his situation and the racism and that kind of thing that he faced, he also brought up at one point, he was like, this is the first time in history that all of the world's major beauty queens are Black. And I'm like, that right there is like, you're parading these women out here to be objectified. That is also that they are far more, these women are far more than their beauty. Now, I understand that for a long time they didn't see us as beautiful, period. So I get why that might have been, it felt okay, but I'm like, you trade one for another, because that's the exact same thing to me. They these women are being paraded, and you got to do little tricks and wear swimsuits to be objectified for the panel of a lot of men, mostly a lot of men voters, to say you're worthy because not only are you pretty, you can dance. And he actually had two beauty queens, Miss Universe and Miss America, standing next to him. And I'm like, you don't even realize that's an oxymoron. The thing that you are saying that you're railing against, you just sat here and fed into. That was a very astute comment, Stacy. Reinhardt said the guy I was thinking was Tyreek Hill, and if you don't know about him, you can look it up. Is Tyreek Hill the one? Is that the one from the hotel? Because I'm not 100% sure what Tyreek Hill might have gotten into. Uh, there was so many of them who have had this, but I mean, again, I'm not trying to because it's easy to continuously find another black person to compare this mixed guy with. Yeah, wait, this guy is better than this guy. I'm looking for somebody who is specifically the exact opposite of a Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick is a quarterback and he's mixed, but he is learning to embrace his blackness because he grew up with that blackness being stifled. So, what's the opposite of that? And I swear it's Ben Roethlisberger. I swear he has enjoyed all of the perks and luxuries of an NFL player. I'm taking a look at Tyreek Hill, what his controversy was, because I don't remember. I want to say he's a running back, correct? Uh, Tyreek Hill spent the night in jail. On the next day, was charged with felony domestic assault and battery by strangulation. That was in when he was in Oklahoma playing. Oops, excuse me. That was when he was in Oklahoma playing for was it the Sooners? Oklahoma State. Then we got him brutally beating and choking his girlfriend in college, but never saw any jail time. Uh, Back in 2014, Tyreek Hill was a 20-year-old running back and wide receiver at Oklahoma State University. With dreams of making it to the NFL, he recorded 534 rushing yards, 281 receiving yards, and five total touchdowns. December 12th, he got into an argument with his girlfriend, Crystal Espinal, who was 8 weeks pregnant and with the couple's son at the time. The verbal argument turned violent when Hill punched her in the stomach and face and choked her. Espinal reported the incident to the police as she feared for her and her child's life. He was arrested after 11 p.m., spent the night in jail, charged with domestic assault and battery by strangulation, and he was dismissed from Oklahoma State. The Chiefs still drafted him in 2016. I mean, okay, I'm about to sound effed up. Y'all know I have to do this at least once a show. I am the ultimate of devil's advocates. If he did these things while he was at Oklahoma State, he went to jail for doing it, just spent the overnight though, and he was dismissed from school. To me, that is a punishment. He was released and dismissed from school. Now, if Kansas City says after this, we are willing to give this young man a second chance, I'm all for second chances. I would like to see a punishment that fits the crime. Being dismissed from school does not fit the crime, by the way. Don't think that I'm saying that. But he faced a consequence for his horrible actions. He was made to pay. I don't think we should have people making mistakes and paying for that mistake for the rest of their life. That's what I'm saying. I have made mistakes. Huge, big, stupid, dumb mistakes. Should I be deprived of living a life because of a mistake I made 30 years ago that didn't see anybody get killed or anything like that? How long do we hold a mistake over a person's head? It's a big mistake. It's a big mistake. But how long do we hold that mistake over a person's head? When do we give them an opportunity to redeem themselves? And I do agree though, Reinhardt, that if you can forgive a mistake, like I didn't just kick the shit out of my girlfriend who was pregnant, then why wouldn't you forgive a person who says, I don't agree with your thoughts uh on social justice. I choose to take a knee because I feel like I'm still being respectful. I'm not making a scene. I'm taking a knee. Okay, let me go back. D said his parents were clueless, but they knew something was not right about the comments their child was getting. They were teaching him to keep his head down. I guess they thought they were supporting him in this way. And yes, the beauty pageants. I think that they thought they were supporting him. I think that they were teaching him, that they thought that they were teaching him to, hey, you black, ain't nobody gonna hand you nothing. You got to go out there like everybody else. You got to work real hard for it. Not realizing that a lot of times that means working twice as hard just to prove that you're able to do something, because that's what he had to do. He had to work twice as hard to prove that he could throw that football. It's sad. Reinhardt said, I can do black or white. Then there's the kicker for the Giants, who was a white guy who beat his wife in the NFL, pretended they didn't know, even though the security had to move his wife and kids. Davida said they just made an example out of him. Remember, he said they selectively chose when to enforce the rules. But that's what he said. That again, of course he's going to say that. I'm not saying that this young man is a liar, but I'm not saying he's Jesus Christ either and that he won't lie. He's going to say whatever he has to say to plead his case. He's telling the story from his point of view. If I'm telling the story from my point of view, I come out smelling like roses. We just don't know. We don't know what really happened. This is a dramatization, and it does make you feel some type of way. But that's why when they dramatize stuff, they want you to feel some type of way. They trying to get you to emote. I ain't saying he's lying. I don't know how much of it is real. Reinhardt said Josh Brown was the Giants kicker, and he happens to be Caucasian. Mm-hmm. Davina said, in the U.S. for the rest of your life, usually, unless someone gives you a chance. Oh, you saying that's how long you have to. That's how long it is before you can redeem yourself. And yeah, if somebody gives you a chance, and it's basically, if you can make money for them, they'll give you a chance. And that's what football. And of course, anytime you look at, okay, Josh Brown, the Giants kicker, for instance, I don't know what his stature is like. Those usually aren't the biggest guys. Let me see what Josh Brown, how he stands and all of that. Josh Brown is old. And let's see. What do you say? Tasha, there's not a single documentary that's ever been done that probably doesn't take liberties with things. 100%. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, unless there was somebody like they do with presidents, they have somebody walking around and recording some of the things that they say, making sure that they're writing these quotes down. They have recordings of conversations so that when they tell the president's story later, when they write that biography, that it is not missing any details, or it's not any details being embellished. You got direct quotes. You got everything that you need to tell this story and make sure that you're telling it right. Right? That's what they do with presidents, or if anybody that you're writing a historical biography about. But this ain't that. We didn't know we was going to have to tell this story until uh, a few years back. We didn't know that this shit was going to happen to this young man so early in his football career. So a lot of this is basically based on the memories that he have of these events, and we got to take those memories at face value. And I'm saying these are like, go ahead and scream loud about it now, because you are facing these repercussions for doing something that you should not have had to face repercussions for. So let's put that out there. Shouldn't even have to feel any repercussions about taking a knee. But here we are, here we are. And now you're telling a bigger, deeper story. And a little part of me feels some type of way, and I don't want to go too far into the details, but a little part of me feels some type of way because I honestly believe that them white folks that raised him, they had pure intentions. They was raising him by the with the information they had available to them at that time. The information was messed up. They thought they were doing right, but he wasn't shown that other side to his personality. That he sees how one side of his life lived, or one side of his heritage, because he's mixed. He never saw how the other side of his heritage lived, and that made it that much more appealing to him. But I don't think them people I don't think them people meant to harm him in any way. I honestly don't. And I don't run around caping for white folks all the time. I don't. In this case, I think they got a bad light shined upon them, because some of the shit that they make it seem like they overlooked was blatant. Now, if they didn't overlook it, but they realize, and because white folks say a lot of times, we don't rock boats. If as long as you don't rock the boat, everything will be okay. Oh, you just dodged a bullet on that one, son. When he said, oh, you know what? Yeah, there are some things that uh I don't think it was right. I don't think it was right to kind of shit on those parents, because he look where he at. If he'd have grew up in the hood, like the hood, would he have even gotten to do all of the things, going to all these football camps? A lot of people say, "Oh, he had no life." I agree, he had no life, but they didn't either, because they was driving him from one college combine to another. If you believe them, every week they was going someplace else. I want to hear the other side. I want to hear all sides of that story. Reinhardt said, "Oh, and then the first time you were called an N word was in the second grade. You know, they was calling you the N word and they meant it, because I think we was about second grade. We started dropping that thing too, but we was dropping it at each other." We was calling each other N words. It didn't even matter. We didn't care. The word didn't have no feeling or meaning behind it, because we talk like that to each other. It only got some meaning behind it the first time somebody said to you and meant it. Like, you know what it means. They meant it. That would say over the swing set. So I've watched it. So I haven't watched it yet, but I bet there's things in there that some people see and think it's made up. But if we've probably been through it at some point. I mean, watch it. And I'm saying that all of it is probably stuff that he has been through at one point or another. what it appears, and you watch the series, 6 episodes. It's going over him from, like, say, the 8th grade to his senior year in high school. And what I'm saying is it probably didn't happen. This wasn't just a kid. This was a kid who was insanely talented, an insanely talented pitcher, an insanely talented quarterback, an insanely talented basketball player. So this wasn't, this was the golden child of this town. Golden child. He's giving y'all all the championships, everything that you could possibly want in an athlete. He was. So I was an athlete. I wasn't an all-star athlete. I was an athlete. I ran track, I played basketball, I did all these things. But then there were other more elite, like my friend Angela. Angela Blakely played with us in high school, ran track with us, played volleyball, went on to be a WNBA star. But when we were in high school, there was preferential treatment. Nothing would be, a lot of, she can get away with a lot of stuff because she was our ticket in a whole lot of ways. All she had to do was pretty much show up. That's the way Kaepernick was. And if one thing I know for 100% sure is white people love them some football. They love it. They love it. They're going to protect their quarterback. They love them some baseball. It's America's sport. It's baseball and apple pie. They're going to protect their pitcher. So this is why I say how much of it was some liberties taken, because quite frankly, he's the kind of black person all the white people like. Where we at? Stacy said, I met a beautiful blue black man once at Delicate Arch, Utah. All my life, I loved every color and race. This made my family hate me. The whole person is very fine to befriend, in my opinion. All ignorance and fear bias, or fear based. We are all family. I mean, and Stacy, you are 100% correct, but a whole lot of people don't see it that way. 100%. I mean, I could say sometimes you walk outside and all they see is that black woman. And then sometimes you walk outside and be like, oh, there go Tasha. It depends on who it is. They don't realize that it's all, we're all coded the same. We have a common ancestor all the way back in Africa. They don't want to hear that either, because they don't want to know that it all started there. It started in Africa. That's a whole different argument for an entirely different day. In fact, that's like indisputable. Like, you can't even argue Africa. That's the truth. There it is. Larry said, I'm calling you Larry. I ain't never called you Larry. Reinhardt said, I'll have to watch it. I just actually started it just now. Seen interviews with his mom and dad, and I think they're good people. That's what I'm saying. Like, because some of the stuff, now there was one point where I cannot get behind, I can't defend. If this happened and this lady need her ass kicked, but I'm not going to talk about it today. We'll talk about it next week. But if this happened, if it was real, then his mama need her butt kicked. I like to hear what they say, because again, this is a biracial child that they adopted. They didn't have to adopt him. They did because what? They couldn't have children. He said, I'm not going to go into it because I'll be telling too much. Watch the show. I'll be glad when you do, Mr. Reinhardt. Stacy said, "I've never understood bigotry. It only destroys. It destroys instead of embracing goodness." Yeah, I don't get it either. But here we are. Uh, Reinhardt said, Tasha. Tasha said, "Some people are clueless to that stuff." I mean, that I have seen people who would look at me and be like, "I can't believe they did that," and I would be like, "What?" That kind of stuff happens all the time. Yeah, I can see it because again, we are older too. I'm 48 years old. I have seen overt racism and I kind of like them. Show me who you are. So I know I don't have to F with you. You know what I'm saying? I know how I have to move around you because you don't like me based off of just looking at me. I kind of like an overt racist. It's those microaggressions. It's those people. Lysandra Taylor that sent me a $20 super sticker. Thank you, Lysandra Taylor. I didn't even know you were here. I appreciate you. Thanks. Um, but yeah, I well now what was I gonna say? Yeah, I kind of like a racist to just show me you a racist. Call me the N-word so we can get it on out the way and I know how to move around you. It's the microaggressions. It's in a microaggression was explained beautifully in the show, but a microaggression would be a person who is saying something uh like a backhanded compliment. We've all had those. Uh we had our backhanded compliments. We'll have our what else do they do? They'll say something nice, nasty. Yeah, they do that. They do it on purpose. So then you have to decipher whether the way that I took that was that really nasty, and that was the type of stuff that was happening to Colin Kaepernick in this show. It was stuff that, at 1 minute, it seemed like it was it was just being racist or whatever, but in the next second, it looked like, what was it racist? It could have been, I'm misunderstanding this. Am I reading this wrong? So yeah, I don't like, yeah, I don't like people who do microaggressions. Let me see now. I think uh I missed some comments. Oh, let me see. Stacy said to redeem them. What's to redeem? Mistakes are like the seasons, they repeat, giving us unlimited opportunities to forgive and understand. Baby, if half the world thought like you, we would have been we would be 100% in a better place. These people are so quick to about canceling people. Cancel. You don't cancel a person. You know, people have an opportunity to change. Some people don't. Some people don't change, but most people do. Will learn from their mistakes and will change. Davina said, "You're a good one." That's another one. That is another. You're a good one. I'm a good what? What am I? Why are you saying that? I thought you were a good one. Or maybe you're not a good one. And yeah, it could be. We're it could be 100% the way it happened. And it could be 100% the way he perceived it. And it could be 100% made up. One of the three. I think we're like someplace in the middle. I think because again, it was other little athletes, and I think that he probably would have been treated better Like for instance, the little black boy that was his wide receiver on his team. Little black boy was the wide receiver on his team, and I would think that he would have got it a whole heck of a lot worse than Colin Kaepernick. Number one, Colin Kaepernick got that white umbrella over him. He's got the parents. And number two, this boy is 100% black, 100%. And then number three, Colin Kaepernick is the star. It would be different if he was like the star of the school, but this little boy was just another little black boy. But yeah, so we're gonna go into deeper, much deeper, with Colin Kaepernick next week Sunday, and maybe we'll do like I'm gonna have to set a little egg timer or something. It's like these we're gonna have to give it like 15 minutes each. Can't talk no longer than that. But yeah, um, again, let me know what you watching. Put it in the comments, or you can send me a message on Twitter or on Facebook. Join the group, the After the Snap Hangout. You can hang out there with us. Occasionally, I will be putting up different trailers and stuff that we watching or stuff that we might need to keep our eye on. Yep, just join the conversation. I appreciate everybody for being here. I thank Lysandra once again for sending me that $20 super sticker. I was not expecting it. Davina says she wants to watch Karma's World by Chris Bridges. I'm gonna have to look that up because I'm not 100% what Karma's World is. That might be one that we can write down along with Foundation that Reinhardt has submitted. And it seemed like Reinhardt had told me one more thing, and I can't remember. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bun. But yeah, those are the shows that we. Oh, let me wait a minute. Reinhardt says, Tasha, I got to say, I don't really appreciate people using slavery the way they do at the beginning. I'll tell you why. A bunch of guys who are at a combine to prove how good they are. So some of them can make millions of dollars, others, or make hundreds of thousands of dollars. And compare that to people who were actually brought over and sold and beaten and raped. You can't compare the two. I can, you know what? When you put it like that, I completely agree. I'm 100% in supporting what you just said, because just like I felt it with the beauty pageant, it looks different. Um, it looked different to you, and it took you saying that for me to even realize, yes, they had a choice. The athletes have a choice. You're right. I agree with you. So I felt like it was a powerful moment, but in hindsight, I see how that can be uh, offensive. Now, going back to D, this Karma's World by Chris Bridges is by Ludacris, because he's Chris Bridges. But I don't know what is it about? Is it let's see. I'm gonna take a look over here. Karma's World. Um Karma's World, Netflix. It is animated. Oh, you know what? I think I heard somebody talking about this show. Um, it is an animated show, and the little girl is so flippin' cute. It's sickening. And I remember it being a part of this, that where the little girl was telling somebody not to touch her hair. This is how you made me feel when you put your hands in my hair without asking. I do want to watch that. That that seems like it would be something that was right up my alley, especially, you got little nieces, and uh for me, a great niece. I want her to get into that. Yes, I thought it was so cute, because yes, it's something that okay, and he said he did this for his daughter. Yes, this is absolutely gorgeous. How did I not hear about this? Why are you guys just now telling me about this show? When did it start? Oh gosh. I'm so excited. Um Lyrically gifted youngster Karma juggles rap dreams and rhyme schemes while using her talent, ambition, and heart to solve any problem. It started on October 15th, 2021. Um, so, and I ran into a review. It was a 3-star review, and I'm going to read it real quick because I read it like in my mind really fast. And it says, although this show was trying to make very good points, but in the end, I feel like it was being over dramatic. I don't want my children to have to tiptoe around asking questions or being curious. We all may not know all about each other's cultures and differences, but it doesn't mean we shouldn't be able to learn and ask questions. Ask questions. Asking questions shouldn't hurt anyone, especially children. Oh Lord, they in their feelings. And I think because they don't see that, when I watch you pet a dog, and then you come over to me and ask me, can you pet my hair? I'm gonna have a problem with that. I got a little bit of a problem with that. And the only reason I got a problem with it is because now I'm thinking about how you rub on the dog. So what are you saying? I'm not an animal. I don't walk up to you and ask to pet your hair. Why are you doing that? So yeah, I think I'm going to look into Karma. So cute. I think that's a show that I would like to experience a little bit more. Yeah. Well, if that's all we got for today, I see another comment. Okay, says, hell yeah, that happened to me, and this was a grown ass woman. Yeah, it's always the grown ups. They always want to touch your hair, and you can tell the ones who have never been around black people. And I can understand, again, the curiosity. I would prefer that you ask, can you touch my hair, than to just walk up and do that. Don't touch. I don't care if I bought the hair. I don't care if I grew it out of my head. Do not put your fucking hands in my hair, especially without permission. There are some women. I remember this lady I used to work with, and Lysandra gonna remember her. Um, Lysandra is gonna remember Miss Milana, and it was, she would not let, like, a man can't touch her hair. That's her husband's, and her husband's only. And I watched her completely have a meltdown on a casino floor because a man touched her hair. She had a complete meltdown. You cannot put your hands in people's hair. You don't know what these people's beliefs are surrounding their crown. And that's what it was. It's like her that's her crown to her. And her husband is the only person who could touch her crown. So yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess. But I know Lysandra remembers Miss Milana. Yep. And not a chia pet. Oh gosh. So yeah, I do 3 live streams so far a week. 3. We do one on Fridays called Film Review Fridays, where we talk one of the big, maybe wide release films, unless there's nothing there for me to discuss, and then I'll grab one off of Netflix or whatever. So I do discuss the wide release films and all of that on Fridays at 7 p.m. Then you can come back Saturday at 3 p.m. where we discuss that week in entertainment, the weekly wrap up. So we talk about, we talk about everything and anything that happened that week in entertainment, movies and TV and that sort of thing. And then, of course, there is Sundays. Joining me here for Stream Something Sundays at 3 p.m., where we discuss streaming series and movies. Next week, we will be talking episode 2 of Prodigy. We will be talking Colin in black and white because a lot of us are just now, a lot of us haven't caught up. I wanted to talk about episodes 1 to 3 today, but I want to give everybody an opportunity, all of my regulars, an opportunity to watch it before we just start blasting it. And what was and La Brea. If ain't nobody watching it next week, like if you guys watch the pilot episode or whatever and don't want to discuss that one for Stream Something Sundays, we can take that off the list. One of the things that is coming out this week, Davina, is the Jay-Z and the Jay-Z produced movie, The Harder They Fall. So that's coming out on Netflix on the 2nd or the 3rd. I can't remember the dates. I think it's the 2nd. So if that's coming out November 2nd, which is Tuesday, I might jump in and we might have an impromptu that day. Maybe not on Tuesday. Maybe we'll have an impromptu on Wednesday where we can chop up The Harder They Fall, because this has been one that we have been waiting on. It's just a big beautiful cast. It's a big beautiful black cast, and I gotta see it. And then this week for Film Something Fridays, The Eternals, Marvel's The Eternals, and I'm super excited about that. Let me catch up these last few comments here, and then I'm going to check out for the day. Reinhardt said, Tasha had a young lady who pretty much date black gentlemen exclusively tell me one time that I didn't sound black. He said I lost my shit. That's funny. It's not funny, but it is, because they I said it was like that Key and Peele sketch. She wanted to see neutral Larry and black Larry. She did not like what she got. I won't get into the words that I used, but they were not good. Davina Lark said, yes, I will be watching that. It's coming out on Wednesday. Oh my goodness, on Wednesday? I thought it was coming out on Tuesday. Suckers. So, yeah, I'm not doing no extra show on Thursday because Thursday is the day I go to the movies and all that. I can't do an extra show that day. So, yeah, I don't know when we're going to talk that. Maybe we can talk The Harder They Fall after The Eternals on Film Review Friday. So two films for Film Review Friday. Y'all think y'all up for that? Stacy said you're genuine and I call you wonderful. Was that for me or for Reinhardt? I'm wondering. But yeah, with all that, I think it's time to bounce on out of here. We've done a 2-hour inaugural episode of Stream Something Sundays, and I had fun with y'all. You guys are all right people. And I like you. Yep, I'm not just saying that because you come and sit to listen to me talk every week. This was fun. So yes, with all that being said, I've got nothing else. I'm going to get out of this hot corduroy dress because this was a bad fashion decision. And I will talk to everybody on Friday for Film Review Fridays. See you then. Peace.